Ogden, Utah, Lindquist Field, where we're now getting set for the bronze medal match for the guys. And in this bronze medal match, some folks from down south. Mexico facing El Salvador. Mexico will be, as you see, on target number 1, El Salvador on target number 2. And some excellent shooters for both of these teams. Mexico led by Julio Ricardo Fierro, and El Salvador led by Jorge Jimenez. There's the Mexican team. Fierro's in the middle. Mario Cardoso and Javid Jaime also shooting with Julio Ricardo Fierro. This team defeated South Africa 230 to 228 in the quarterfinals, and then lost to the men from the United States in the semifinals 235 to 231. So they were able to hang with the Americans.
Yeah, 235s, that's absolute world class. So to be anywhere near that's a great result.
So here's the team from El Salvador. Roberto Hernandez, and Jorge Jimenez. Jorge on the left.
Jorge is a bit of a sporting legend in El Salvador. He's one of their best-known sporting superstars, as it were, and he's had a fantastic career. And I can actually say his career started in at the World Champs in 1999 because he took me out in the first round.
So it was you.
I started as, yeah, you could say that. Because we'd never seen the guy, and he was qualified a lot lower than me, because I think back then I was ranked in the top 5 in the world, maybe even number 2, and he took me down. I was absolutely devastated.
Took you by
at the time.
surprise.
He did. He shot fantastic. He just destroyed me, and I didn't see it coming, and I learned a lesson there. Never take it for granted, and you've always got to bring your best game, because you never know how the other guy's going to shoot. And then since then, he's had a fantastic career.
He really has. Jorge Jimenez, a men's team gold medal at the Pan Am Championships. He was 4th at the World Cup Finals in Istanbul last fall, losing to Roger Willett Jr. in the semifinals. No shame in that.
Not at all.
Roger went on to win the World Cup Finals last year in Istanbul. And it looks like Jorge will start things off for El Salvador. El Salvador was 4 better than Venezuela, 228 to 224 in the quarterfinals, and then lost a shoot-off with the team from up north Canada. So Jimenez.
So there's a debate within the teams. Do you put your strongest archer up first? Do you put them last? Normally I would just let everyone try different positions and see who's the most comfortable, because some people hate the idea of going last, not knowing whether they're going to have much time left. Other people hate the idea of stepping up first and being the one to open the shoot. So you just have to try different. Ooh, that was
an interesting release, wasn't it?
That was an interesting release, but he got away with it. That distracted me there. But yeah, you have to try different routines and see what works out best for the individuals. And sometimes, obviously, the coach has to make that call. Yes, okay. The athletes can you can shoot at either face whenever you want, but most of the time, teams naturally start on one and then finish on the other. But
so an 8,
it does
a
catch
10.
you by surprise.
Yeah, a little bit by surprise. So Mexico starts off with an 8. Now here's Julio Ricardo Fierro.
See, I'm starting to see these flags are considerably starting to spin around, and T-shirts are flapping. Maybe things are going to get interesting weather-wise. But that doesn't matter this time.
Mexico making things interesting with the bullseye from Julio Ricardo Fierro, who settled for a silver medal in Shanghai in the first stage this year, losing to Rio Wild in the gold medal match. But that was great experience, I'm sure, for the 22-year-old who's ranked 21st in the world. And there's a 9 for Mexico from Cardoso. So Mexico with the early 1-point lead, 27-26 as Jorge steps up to shoot again. A silver medalist at stage 1 in Croatia last year. and finished 5th at the previous World Cup final in 2010 in Edinburgh. After starting off with an 8, he comes up with a 9.
He'll find his feet by the end of it. 10.
A 10 for Hernandez.
The clock is getting down. They'll be okay, but they certainly don't want to go any slower.
With 7 seconds to go, he let it fly.
Where did it go?
And where it lands, we're not quite sure.
I wonder if
It's
he's
a
aimed at the
miss.
wrong target. He's aimed at the wrong target, I think. See if we'll get a wide shot. Yeah, they put 4 arrows. I wonder if that first arrow they shot in the 8 on the right-hand side, they should have put in the left. I wonder if he
That's
stepped
what
out
was-
of team lines, as it were.
That's what crossed my mind when I saw that originally. But that is huge
That
to
is.
come up with no points. And it definitely puts Mexico.
Especially if they're going to Mexico
Yes.
are going to do that as well.
They're going for the jugular right now, and it's in the first end. And after that miss by El Salvador, this match may be over already.
Yeah, it might be. I wonder how that. Yes, now I want to go and interview the athlete to know how they made that mistake. Do they always shoot at different targets, or do they normally start on the left and then move on to the right, which is the more traditional way?
Well, Mexico stays focused. And El Salvador, we'll see if they're able to regain their composure. They're trying to figure it out themselves right now, but
It was
on
a
that
10 as
final
well.
shot, but it won't count.
It won't count.
It's a miss, and as a miss, they only score 45 points, and they fall far behind in the opening end, and you can see the regret on the faces.
Actually, I think it's going to work out worse than that because, oh no, they shot a 10 with it, because even though we know when the arrow was shot, you lose the highest scoring arrow out of that target face. So if you had a shot at 8, they'd actually lost one of their 10s to the 8 that he shot. But because he shot a 10, it's horses for courses, but that's a fatal mistake for sure.
Well, 57 to 45 is your score, a 12-point advantage for the team from Mexico after the first end. So it would take a monumental collapse on the part of the Mexican team for El Salvador to even have a chance of getting back into this match.
Sometimes when
Which
things
is
like
a
this
shame.
Which is a shame. But sometimes when things like this happen, it can really distract the other team. And before you know it, they start dropping points and things get closer.
Let down a little bit?
Yeah, but you do have to stay focused on the job. Just because you've just managed to pull out 12 points doesn't mean you need to focus any less on the arrows to come. You've got to keep focused on the job in hand and not worry about the lead or the deficit.
Jorge, staying focused. You do have to forget about all that and stay, as I've been told, that the key is to stay within yourself, stay within the shot, one shot at a time.
It's the only thing you control. You can't control how the other team shoot, how your opponents perform, or even your teammates you can't control. You've just got to do your job on the line the best you can and hope at the end, when everything's added up, you've got the highest score.
Good look at the compound bow, the cams, which helps these archers have a hold weight that's about half of the draw weight.
Yeah, most of the time even less. Most of these bows will have a peak of around 60 pounds, but many of them will be holding 17, 18, that sort of weight. See, again, you see El Salvador on the previous shot, they've gone for the 2 and 1, so maybe that's their normal routine, and it was the last archer who should have gone for the left and went for the right. If it is their normal routine, it's
maybe a routine they want to revisit.
yeah, maybe that needs to be put on the review sheet for tomorrow morning, or even tonight.
The asterisk means it's on the line. They'll have to look at it and decide whether it's a 9 or a 10 once the judges are able to go out and assess the situation after this second end is complete.
Because I would always favor keep things as simple as possible, because with all the pressure, with all the distractions, you don't want things to be complicated. You want to be able to do it with, well, literally without thinking. You want to be able to just go through the motions. So I wonder if, whether they should just start on the left, move to the right, which should be far more traditional.
I'm sure it'll be a topic of conversation.
It might be the only one. It might be a short conversation as well.
Yes. But a tough break for El Salvador, as now they seem to have righted the ship. 4 9s and a 10 thus far here in the second end. And they will try to finish it off strong right now. Remember, this is a team that went to a shoot-off with Canada in the semifinals, so there's talent there, and you can see it. But one bad move, one mistake is costly.
If this had happened to have been on the set system, they would have just lost 1 set.
Exactly.
And now would be starting all over again, just like they lost by 1 point.
See, here you go, recurve Archer.
So there's
campaigning for the set system.
There's pros and cons to either.
Yeah.
I think I fall on the camp that says go for sets, but there's plenty of people out there who'd be shouting me down and saying total score is a much better reflection. Probably the Mexicans right now would be telling me that total score is the way to go.
I think they like things the way they are right now.
That was a good shot.
Julio Ricardo Fierro, who I think gained a lot of experience in Shanghai back in April, going up against Rio Wild in that gold medal match.
It's always good to shoot against Rio.
Now here's Cardoso. This would be his first World Cup medal, and it appears he's well on his way towards getting his medal.
I think so.
Shoots an 8, and El Salvador actually wins the end 56-53, but they're still in a big hole right now trying to climb out.
They are, and I think that hole's possibly too deep. But it's never over till it's over.
And you have seen stranger things happen, have you not?
Absolutely. I mean, I think at the end of last year, we were at the World Cup final in Shanghai when I was commentating on the field, doing the announcing, and we had, Deep Martrillis from Canada, world-class archer.
Good point.
Won some of the biggest tournaments on the planet, and he shoots an arrow and it doesn't hit the target. It goes straight through the timing clock. Mm-hmm. No one would have, in a million years, you would never think he's going to drop in a miss. And
he had a knock on his arrow that broke, didn't he?
He did, yeah. I believe so. They've watched the video because he was oblivious to it. Right. And I actually watched his shot. It looked great. I looked through my scope to announce it, and I'm like, it's not there. And yeah, it was a knock. They watched back on the video, and not his fault, an equipment failure. But still, these things happen, even to the best guys at the height of competition. You never know. So you've always got to, as an opponent, even if you're way behind, you've just got to keep going, because you never know when something else is going to happen, and you need to be there to take advantage if you can.
This is the men's team bronze medal match. Mexico against El Salvador coming up in just a few moments. Team USA taking on the team from Canada in the men's team gold medal match. But right now we have 2 more ends to go here at Lindquist Field in Ogden, Utah on a very warm Saturday afternoon in the United States.
You can see that sun reflecting off his sight. It's bright out there.
The thing about this competition here at this stage, we are going to see the lighting conditions change continually throughout the day as the sun sets and the lights take over here at Lindquist Field, which makes this unique.
It is, and I think it's a great venue. I believe we're not coming back here next year. Maybe we'll come back in years to come, but to me, the times we've had in Ogden have been fantastic, and I hope we get back to the USA and particularly Ogden in the years to come, because culturally it's great to come into another sports arena and perform our stuff. A lot of the times we shoot in athletic stadiums and football stadiums, but it's the only place in the world you're going to shoot in a baseball stadium. Is stadium the right word?
Stadium is the right
Stadium
word.
is the right word, okay.
Well done, Mike.
Just checking.
Shooting from the left side. Jaime with a 9 on the line.
Still a 10-point difference.
So there's an 8 for Julio Ricardo Fierro, who took a bronze medal with Mexico's men's team in Shanghai last fall at stage 4. Julio will be in Tokyo, one of the archers who will be in Tokyo at the World Cup finals. And now Cardoso to shoot.
I've been to 2 World Cup finals, both Denmark and Edinburgh, but sadly not as an athlete. I was there as a coach. But they're fantastic events, and it really is apart from the Olympic Games, it is the pinnacle of our sport.
Last year's event in Istanbul was outstanding. On the grounds of the Küçüksu Palace along the Bosphorus Strait.
Nice 10 there from Jorge.
World Archery able to go out and find some tremendous sights and some tremendous settings to showcase this sport.
They have had some fantastic venues, and when I was told it was going to be in Edinburgh, I didn't know if we could find a venue to live up to all the others, but we truly did. The venue and the organising and everything in Edinburgh was second to none. All the athletes there had a fantastic time, and it looked awesome, you know. And that's when it comes to your home country, you always got your fingers crossed that everything's going to go okay, that it's not going to be torrential downpour or anything. And yeah, the Edinburgh World Cup was really slick. And we had the Pope come to town as well, so, you know, we pulled in some big world-class spectators.
Hafid Jaime.
That might be upgraded to a 9, looking at that.
You look at the 59 that El Salvador puts on the board here in the third end. Had it not been for that last shot of the first end, a miss for which they got no points, this might be a heck of a match. But right now, depending upon what Cardoso does, this could be an 8, 9, 10-point lead for Mexico heading into the fourth and final end.
It's 10. So they've cut the deficit down, but and I've got a feeling that 8 might be upgraded to a 9 for Mexico as well, so maybe it'll be 6 points.
Well, it was a 12-point lead to start off after the first end. After that miss on the final shot of the first end for El Salvador, Mexico was leading by a dozen points, 57-45. El Salvador picked up 3 points in the second end, and we shall see momentarily if they've been able to pick up some more ground. I think they have here in this third end. And there you see their score, 160 out of a possible 180 for El Salvador.
El Salvador have dealt with this, we'll call it a disaster, exactly how you should have done. Even though they had a big error, they've kept their focus and they're trying to get as close as they can. I know it's an uphill battle and the chances of them getting there are pretty slim, but at least they're going to walk away thinking, you know, at least we put down some good ends and we showed people what we can do. And you never know if there's going to be an error with Mexico, because you've only got to have a timing fault, run out of time, and they've lost 10 points as well. So hats off to El Salvador for doing the job that they needed to do. Keep focused and keep hitting 10s.
With Jorge Jimenez leading the way, they picked up 3 points in that second end. Then cut into the lead even more in the third end that was just completed, winning at 59-54, so they picked up another 5 points. So in the last 2 ends, they've taken 8 points off of that deficit.
A little twitch there.
Another twitch.
That's his signature.
Oh, you could just see.
He wasn't happy with that.
Oh, he was upset as soon as he let it go.
I think that might be the final.
He was fighting it the whole way.
He was. It might be the final straw. You can see the wind's just starting to pick up in here. That was a good shot.
Beautiful shot by Mr. Hernandez. One of 2 Hernandez archers on this El Salvador team.
9.
Shooting at the other target, he comes up with a 9. But if there was to be a rally, that first shot, the 7, may have killed the rally before it had a chance to really get going.
Yeah, I think Mexico are going to be feeling fairly relaxed right now.
Jaime with an 8. Shooting from the left side. Cool, calm, and collected. Julio Ricardo Fierro.
See the trees in the background there, they are. We're starting to get some turbulence. Maybe, like you said, it's going to pick up as the evening goes on.
As the sun sets, the canyon winds will come out and come shooting down those canyons, and we'll start to feel it here. It will cool things off for us, but make things more difficult for the athletes.
Possibly more interesting as well there. Sometimes
that's a good way to look at it.
I know as an athlete I hate it, but sometimes when you're a spectator, when it gets windy, because so many points can be traded shot for shot, it does make it. It makes it right exciting, right till the last minute. Can Jorge make up for that? 7. He can.
Of course, in compound, these arrows aren't as affected as much by the weather conditions as we'll see tomorrow with the recurve archers.
No, they're not. Most of these compounds are going to be putting arrows down there at about 300 feet per second, whereas your typical recurve Olympic bow will be going down there at about 200 feet per second. And they're a similar arrow, pretty much the same size. So the compounds drift a lot less. But when you're holding it, sometimes I think when you're aiming in the wind, at least with a recurve, I've got 50 pounds on my fingers and it helps steady the bow. Whereas with a compound, I'm holding the release aid and maybe the bow's got 18 pounds on it. And sometimes you just get a sway left and right, left and right.
So you don't get that same feel, same sense of...
No, I think on a windy day, I'd like to combine the two. I'd like to have more holding weight to try and steady up the bow. But you want that speed. To see if you could have the speed of a compound on a recurve, it'd be fantastic. Slowly, as the years go by, the recurve bows are getting faster and faster because these bows are cutting-edge design, but they're still 100 feet, 100 feet per second.
Fierro with a 9.
So the compounds are the best part of 200 miles per hour, if that makes more sense.
So basically, right here, Cardoso just needs to hit the target.
I'd like to think, I know it's going to be his first World Cup medal, but I'd like to think that he can.
Plenty of time. More than just hits the target.
Absolutely.
A wonderful shot to finish things off, and Mexico. Fist bumps, high fives.
He's going to feel great about that. That's the best way to win your first medal. Close out with a 10.
Very well done by Cardoso. And actually, hats off to the team from El Salvador. A very, very tough way to start a match. And they hung in there, kept battling.
They did, and that's what you got to do. So they might have made a bit of a schoolboy error at the beginning, but for professionalism, they stayed in there, they kept focused, and they kept trying to chip away. And that's all you can do. At least they can walk out with their head held high that they gave it the best shot, literally.
So 216 out of a possible 240. They shoot 56 on that final end, and there is a nice picture.
It's not a high-scoring match. I think the weather is starting to play a part.
You can see the flags right there here at Lindquist Field, and that's what the archers are contending with. A 5-point victory for Mexico, 221 to 216. So congratulations to Mario Cardoso, Jafid Jaime, and Julio Ricardo Fierro from Mexico as they take home the bronze medal. And a tip of the cap to